The other day I was really questioning the integrity of my life. And that's something you should be willing to do daily. You don't have to do it. You should be willing to do it daily. What do you desire? What animates you? Are you living honestly? What do you connect to most? Are you living your life truthfully? I asked myself these questions the other day, partially because there is one thing I've done throughout my whole life, especially when I started creating success. And if you're in that place in life where you're actually starting to build something that you love, that you do connect to, maybe you found your purpose, right? Well, there's the whole dangers of not becoming attached to it, because that's when you become blind. I remember telling this to my group today, and it was, for a long time, the second I got my hands on power, significance, recognition, I put the teeth and claws in. I couldn't open my eyes. The only thing I saw were those visions, and anything that got in the way of it. My day went to So I realized what makes somebody authentic, what makes them true, what makes them genuinely somebody who's actually going to be a force for good, especially if you have lots of vices. So, thank God the following grew, the clients came in, money was made, I became someone. Wow. Don't we all lose our mind when we become somebody? When you become someone, you lose who you are. And you also lose how much you matter to the people around you. Because someone is actually your egotistical projection of what you think you want to be, not who you are. You grow up, you have kids. Maybe if you've actually spoken with celebrities, you'll have a conversation with them and you'll realize what matters to them most are the things that matter to all human beings most. But you've put them on such a high pedestal. And that's the thing about value, is that often we create an idea of what we would be like if we gave ourselves A, B, or C. That's a lie. It's also not true. And I do recommend that you go for it. Go for it. Don't let it own you. Big difference. And I noticed working with a lot of clients, a lot of people fear excellence because of the cost of what they have. Now, that's your job to make sure that you connect to what matters, that will be with you when you go on this journey. And of course, sometimes there are some prices you don't want to have to pay. It's easier that way. So when I was 23, I had this massive surge of success. Oh, it got to my head. It got to my head really quick. And I wasn't ready. I know that a lot of the time people say that I want wealth, I want success, I want fame. You think you do because of what it can give you. So there are feelings that you have in association to your achievements. Feelings of what? Power, significance, recognition, and approval. Now, these things are very, very essential, and they shape your life, and they make you a lot about who you are. Now, I really didn't like how I was fake. And so today is really talking about how your insecurities, if left unconfronted, and your attachments not recognized, you will be fake. And by the way, I want to let you know the worst part. You'll be miserable too. So you would think after all of these things got well. No, I got more scared. I got scared to keep up a performance that I didn't even know I could. I was scared of losing it. How much it meant to me, because it set me free, or at least, that's what I told myself I wanted the whole time. And so there's this process that we call letting go. Now, I could show you a little bit about how to do that, because it's one of the most important things that we can have. And you're going to need another important component here, faith. What I'm about to tell you is going to allow you to have access to the things that you want most without having access to it before you even do. When I was 23, before I had this massive surge of success in my life, I was journaling daily, manifesting, doing the classic stuff that people tell you to do. And I was feeling like I had it, like I blew up. And I remember I had 1,000 followers on Instagram this one time. And I was spending all the money I saved for my fitness business. I was getting lower than I ever thought I'd ever see the account. I was freaking out. There was this one point, and this is what I really want to show you the beauty of. It's connecting to your life and your life alone. Have you ever realized how much of what you do is partially a fantasy? It's something you hold on to based off of this subconscious agreement with God that you will have those things forever. So pretty much what we call that is called entitlement. If you want to see disgusting in people, they are what you call entitled. And so I don't want you to be entitled. It's the last thing I want you to be. I just want to let you know how entitled I was. And so around April of 2023, I fell apart. I got rejected again and again and again. There were these girls that they were the ideal that I wanted, and every time we'd get close to, taking it home run, rejected, until I fell apart. Now, has anybody ever fallen apart? You probably have. Here's the beauty of finding yourself. You find yourself when you fall apart voluntarily. So I fell apart at this one time, and then, pieced myself back up together, And as that happened, the only thing I really cared about was me. The job disappeared. The Instagram didn't really matter. I hired a coach. I started focusing on my habits in relationship to women. I didn't like them. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like this frustration I had. She helped me. She helped me get a better understanding of me. I let it go. Wow. How did I let it go? What became important to me was being an honest, good man. And I could definitely see how in the name of being an honest, good man, I was becoming a little bit of a con artist. I know that you're probably thinking, like every guy on social media who wants to pitch advice and self-help is, I almost was one. How? Did I know it? No. It's what I told myself. I'm doing this for good and virtue. I said that so that I can get the power and recognition that I wanted by using others. Well, that's dark. It's also honest. That changed, I remember, in April 2023, April 19th. I let go of this grandiose vision, and I confronted and faced the insecurities that made me want it more than I wanted to be closer to me. And that's the big lie. We get confused sometimes. We get lost. How do you know you're lost? What's most important isn't what's most true about you. I knew I was lost. I reached out, I got help. It's one of the most courageous things you can do. The alternative is potential success with a foundation. You're about to feel a lot of weight in what it's like to feel lost. I felt like, for the first time in my life, and I was talking about this with my friends the other night, it's so crazy I'm talking about this now. I actually thank this person that helped me so much because it was for the first time in my life I didn't chase women. I was connected to me and my own sense of value and understanding of what love is and that I can actually have access to it, opposed to just getting it in dosages without what I need from a series of partners. And that wasn't healthy. It was destructive for me and for them. I remember very specifically how I let go of all of it, and my biggest concern was coming to this feeling between me and myself where I was my hero. I felt like that young boy that needed the security and understanding. Got it. I picked him up and I walked with him. I brought him everywhere. I did not run away from myself in every aspect possible. It's funny how all of that coaching revolved around women, and well, of course, lo and behold, a girl came into my life, and she was somebody who allowed me to really see myself and make love to that. Heal that aspect of me that I always rejected. The insecurities around my own sexuality and what I like to share, what I find intimate, what I find to be vulnerable, what I believe is real. For the first time, was able to do that without an expectation from anybody else. So I'm bringing up all of these stories so that you guys can have a really good understanding of your attachments and your insecurities that protect you from what? Your value, what you are doing, what you are bringing. We often think grand is always great. Have you ever seen the quality of you with the love of your life in your one-bedroom apartment having a conversation over a glass of wine? Big starts to feel real small. You ever look at the magic of a child? The strength of one? Now you have some perspective of magnitude. There's also maturity in this. Not only that, overnight, I met the girl. And right after I met the girl, I had 90,000 followers on Instagram. Do you want to know what happened when it happened? I looked up and I smiled. I smiled because I knew I could receive it. Your subconscious works in very interesting ways. You're more afraid of receiving the love that you desire than you are of never having it. Some would say that it's a bigger curse to be given it and then have it taken away than to never have it at all. And your subconscious is thinking that now. I knew I was deserving because I came to what was most important to then be able to experience the beauty of the wealth that was given to me. I received it, and it hit home base. I came from a good place when giving to others, not from a corrupted, insecure one. I was so attached to power and significance, I lost where all power and significance come from. A deep, deep relationship where you have overcome struggles that are personal to your life and have been a struggle your whole life. And when I came back to it, it was no longer something that had power over me. What is the one thing that we all want to know? That we are free and that we are loved. Because then what's most authentic comes up to the surface. Unfortunately, things didn't work out between me and the girl. I continued doing what I was doing. And if you think this was the first time I did this, that's where you're wrong. So when you let go and you experience success, guess what? You want to know what happens? Well, you fall right back into the same pit where you make it your God. You are doomed to worship it. As you feel no value behind what you offer, you experience chronic imposter syndrome. You become further and further away from your sense of value. And I remember 24 came around and I was like, this is amazing. I get to be 24 and achieve all of this success, get to ride this massive wave. Revenue dropped by 50%. Next month, another 50%. I'm pulling out of pocket. My media, to shit. Couldn't close a deal. Nobody calling in for work. Empty office. Darkest place of my life. Both my knees went out after wrestling too much. Had to take my car that I've driven for years that I loved, return it back to the shop. Lease ran out. Money's running out. And I went from 250,000 followers to 238 followers. And now you're probably like, chill out, bro. That's true. Chill out is the right answer. I attached all of my value to these things. What do you think happened to the quality of my life? And what do you think happened to Naftali Moses? I went back to and I started piecing those blocks back up together. Here's the paradox of life. You want to find your value in a true sense of confidence. Don't avoid deconstruction. Voluntarily adopt it. And watch who you are exist outside of the empire you build. But your worth is in your ability to take it apart and have just as much fun building it back up. Now you're no longer attached to the vision, you own it. Your dreams no longer control you, you live them. Your love is no longer your God. It's something you experience in your life and you give to others. So in 24, I had these reconstruction, deconstruction periods. And I hated it. Why? I wanted to go on an ego trip. I was so full of insecurities. To be honest, as a person, I'm full of insecurities. And I'm still learning to integrate them. You know, a lot of me is very performative, doesn't like to show who I am, creates a very powerful mask to avoid the sensitivity in me, the softness, the gentleness, because it's been hurt before. You know, but being able to have this opportunity that I call life, to come back to those parts of human nature that are God-like and to represent them as me is an honor. So the one way that I created real confidence in a world where insecurities and attachments get the best of us is willing deconstruction of what you build. And I can give you an example of the other day. Oh, you got the power, you got the money, you got the girl, boom, hubris, ego. You keep playing that game, works a little bit, deteriorate, you got nothing left. It's a cycle in my life. Why? Because I'm building off a fraudulent foundation, not off what's true. What makes us feel a sense of value is when we come to the deepest part of ourselves that connects to our lives regardless of outcome. When we do what we do because it's who we are set free. When things come from that, yes, it's beautiful, yes, it fulfills us, yes, we don't want to lose it, but that's not what's most important. What's most important is what it does for you, what it builds in the world after, how it allows you to see parts of yourself that you once hated so deeply that you can voluntarily come close to. I realized I had all of these attachments around power and significance. It even stopped my connection to God. I loved what God could give me, not my connection to Him. I hid behind that. It was a great way to get what I wanted from others. It was never a great way to get what I wanted for myself. People really forget something. Just because they look like they have a better life doesn't mean they do. Misery is for everyone who experiences existence. And believe me, people are far better actors than you give them credit for. Thank my father for acting for years so I could learn a lot about it. See exactly how good we can be when you're hurt, in pain, disconnected. So throughout this time of 24, I just remembered and realized I had this one retreat with a client. He came out here. And this was when I started voluntarily deconstructing, meaning when I would feel the power, significance, and recognition, I would let it go, like as if it was a ball tossed right next to me. I would grab it and throw it out the window like it would never come back. You know, often we think these things in life are so valuable. You're forgetting what's most valuable is the freedom you have and the love you can experience and share. Those are the two most valuable things in your life because both of those things are true about why we're here. We are on protection of truth. And I remember I was afraid. I was like, letting go of this. I can't let go of this. I'll lose who I am. Are you willing to walk through that force field of truth to find out only what's true will remain? And I remember this one time when I was 24, another big surge of success, I said, put it aside. I noticed what allowed the success to exist was me connecting to what was true, what is meaningful, and what is real. That's what does it. And then of course the control brain comes out and goes, well, let's make it a science to replicate it so you can be an arrogant asshole and have all your success. Truth be told, that goes against my values. So I can't. Of course I sabotage my life every time I do that. I would do this meditative drill, where I take those things in my life and I give them up until they keep coming back. And I give them up again. And then they come back and I give them up again. And they come back. And I seek to throw them further. And I know a lot of the time we think that we're losing this. Don't forget how you lose your freedom every time you think you don't. Fear is what controls people's life at the end of the day. Fear of what? In limitation of their existence. With zero awareness of that fear, that can control your life. And I wasn't even aware that I was sabotaging it. It was going against the one thing that I believed to be the most true. Of course I was resistant to taking on more hours. I didn't want it to go against my freedom. Freedom to do what? Knows, but freedom in general. I take the Instagram, all the social medias, burn it. I take the events, burn it. Take the clients, burn it. Take the money, burn it. I want to know that where I build from is true, so that I can be free. And here's the key word: connected, not attached. Anything that you're attached to, you serve and owns you. Anything you're connected to, you can really choose. The other day I had it. 2 days to myself after working my ass off. What came to my head? Go to the beach. Call this girl. Go to this place. Do this. You have free time. Go, go, go. Like a heroin addict. And I had this fear kick in. This is one of the most powerful beliefs that everyone could have in order to set themselves free. Nothing you have is yours. Nothing. You might not like it when you hear it. Why? Well, because it could be taken. Well, how do you know? A loved one? Is that yours? Are you in control of that person living as long as you would like them? Money, is that yours? Are you in control of building it without it being taken or losing it due to circumstance? Even your educated decisions can't predict a market crash. What I noticed is this changes the way that I live my life, because it helps me come back to what's true regardless of what I get in life. If what I get in life stops me from being true, I will be a loser. And it's a dangerous thought to have because it needs to be integrated. I looked at this a little bit deeper, and this is one that really shot into my soul. In order to break the attachments from it, I needed to feel that as myself, I am enough. And what I do for me is what sets me free, not for others. Because I want to share freedom with someone. And let me tell you the definition of collective freedom. To share freedom and love with someone is to share a vision collectively with mutual selfishness to fulfill it. Kind of dark, kind of true. Will set you free. And sometimes if you made a pursuit in your life to help others, the most important thing is to constantly change the identification of what made you start. Deeper, 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 stronger, constantly, all the time. Perhaps maybe you could be even set free through your own actions that you do every day because they're so real. You don't even think about the consequences. You can give compassion and not have to consider whether or not they will take it. You can give advice and you know that it's the right thing to do. You can give money and accept that perhaps maybe others need it more than you. A life where you're not attached is a life where you're free. And the other day I was writing down all of this. It's like, why do I do what I do? Why do I speak what I speak? Why do I even do this right now? What animates me? What drives me? What do I really want to have in my life? And then what came up was all the fear of losing it. And it was interesting, as I was having this call with one of my coaches, an earthquake came. And remember, if you guys ever want to feel weak, experience an earthquake or a tsunami. You have no control. There's nothing you can do. Good luck. Good luck. You want to experience divine sovereignty? Feel the room around you shake like it's a set on a movie, as all you can do is watch. And so I took that as, a calling sign from the divine to sit down, journal, and write what I was really afraid of losing. I didn't want to lose my life. I was looking at the days that I had because I didn't want to lose my youth. I was trying to posture around a friend who's making money, and it was like, what am I doing? Where am I? Where am I coming from? What is this? This isn't me. And it was like, well, get a flight somewhere. Feel something. You want to feel alive, don't you? I was falling into it. Often what do we do when we're afraid? The one thing you shouldn't? Run. Especially when you're in the confinements of your own home, not surrounded by tigers or predators. So I sat down, I said, well, I have the next 2 days to myself. What the f am I going to do? I'm failing, right? That's what I was telling myself. And one of the most powerful drills that you can ever do if you feel that you need to let go. Go over everything in your life and realize how none of it is yours. Your thoughts, your mind, your words, your heart, your body, your wealth, the person you are, the family you have, and the life you have. You want to detach. You do it fully. You want to experience life? You experience it as a child. That's the part of us that experiences life to its fullest. I was freaking out the last couple of days until I realized I'd do this for as long as I live, and I'd give all that I can with everything that I have, because that's the most true thing that I can do. What also came up to the surface is I can truly be free, and to experience the fullness of life is not in chasing it, but experiencing it in your life. One of the one things I want to send you off with is just that maybe you can go on this process of letting go, this process of finding who you are, understanding how your attachments are created through your insecurities, and that perhaps maybe you've created an ego to protect you from your own sense of value. And just remember this, when your ego is in charge, you're protecting nothing. You're empty inside, you're numb. The reason why we do this, and maybe why you're listening, is because you want more. May these words fuel your week, give you passion, allow you to spread that, and let it be sincere, affectionate, and let that compassion perhaps maybe be critical, to give other people an insight on what they should be improving and how you can be improving. You know, those 2 days I was looking for the fullness of life, to realize that I had to be willing to accept the ordinary aspects of mine, to experience the extraordinary. Our whole lives we spend outside of ourselves, and then we have nothing to give. Every time we spend in the quality of our own life, we see how much our life is worth protecting and how beautiful it really is. The one most important thing that I want before you guys go, if you can work on this and this only, if you realize that everything you are looking for is in the world that you're in, the people that you are surrounded by, you let go of what it means to be someone. You find how much you mean to those that you love the most, and that's always what matters the most. Once you do this, and you voluntarily look at yourself, and you deconstruct it when straying, you get to see yourself for who you are fully, and your sense of value will not be rooted in the external. It will not be rooted in delusion. It will not be rooted in dialogues that you tell yourself. It'll be rooted in nothing but the truth about you. And when you stand in front of the face of the world, and it looks back into you, you have no problem being naked to show the truth about what it takes in order to be the best that you can. And you will continue to do so.